Now we'll see how to write the tuple relational calculus query for some problems. Let me take directly problem and try to write the formula. Find the names and ages of sailors with a rating above above 7. So what I do is I write like this. Since I want names and ages, I do like this: s dot name and comma s dot age, such that s belongs to sailors. See. And one more thing is s dot rating greater than 7. What's the problem with this one? We will see. First of all, is it formula as we thought or as we defined? We will see. So S belongs to sailors is our kind of formula. It is an atomic formula. You check it out. Similarly, S dot rating greater than 7 is third kind of atomic formula. So atomic formula and atomic formula is a formula, right? That's the definition of formula. Yes, it is formula. Now we are writing a formula with only free variable s. Here s is a free variable, correct? So we have written a formula with s as a free variable, and but left side if you see, the structure should be, did you remember? The structure of tuple relational calculus formula is s where f of s, right? But here left side we don't have s. We have here s dot name, s dot age. That's a problem. This is a wrong, this is a wrong syntax. But in GATE exam sometimes they give this kind of questions also with this syntax. At that time we should adjust and we should understand that. So this query is printing the sailors names where whenever that tuple belongs to sailor, that means they are sailors and their rating greater than 7. That means it prints names of the sailors whose rating is greater than 7, right? But it is actually wrong syntax. According to formal definition, it is wrong. Now we'll see how to write the correct one. For writing correct one, what I do is I use there exists text. That means definitely you require there exists text operator. So how I use there exists text operator, you will see. Finally, my answer, let's say t, correct? This is fixed. We can't change it. Now output is t. Whenever there is some sailor, you tell me when can you say that there is a person whose rating greater than 7? So you should see a tuple, right? It is necessary. If you see a tuple, and that should be sailor tuple, and there should be a rating field. Of course it will have rating field. That rating field is having more than 7. That means maybe 8, otherwise 9 or something. Anything else? That's it. Then whenever I see it, I have to print name comma age, correct? So what I do is I write like this with that imagination. If there exists at least one s such that, so that's enough? No. Such that s belongs to sailors. So what kind of s you want? That s should belong to sailors. And first order logic formula I am writing. Second thing, s dot rating greater than 7. You see, I am writing a formula actually, right? See. So whenever there is some tuple belongs to sailors and its rating greater than 7, then such tuples rating, and I can't directly print s. Again it is a violation of syntax. So here s is a bounded variable. I have to print free variable. That's why what people do is they do like this. They introduce a free variable t and they do like this. So such a way that t dot name equal to, I will tell you the meaning of this one. First try to follow s dot name and t dot, that's it, t dot age equal to s dot age. We'll try to understand what does it mean. This means whenever this formula is satisfied, t will be printed. I want a tuple t in the world such a way that this formula is satisfied. Whenever this formula is satisfied, then this component should be satisfied. When this component is satisfied, you are seeing at least one tuple, right? Such a way that its rating is greater than 7. That means you are seeing one tuple s whose rating is greater than 7, like 8. Okay, maybe his name is Raju and his age is 75 or something. Okay, now then only this formula is satisfied, and this formula also, let's say, satisfied. Sir, what is t here? T is a free variable. Sir, how to imagine free variable? I know how to imagine bounded variable. Example, s is a bounded variable. So here s is a sailor table, right? S belongs to sailors. So how to imagine free variable here? So this free variable is not belongs to, of course it's a free variable. Here in the query we have not mentioned anything about t, like it belongs, like where it belongs. So who is t? Correct, what are the columns it has, anything. Whenever you have a variable without any definition of the table name or anything, then we say that is a variable for that what we do is we just imagine the columns which are mentioned in the query. What are the columns we mentioned in the query? One is name, correct? One is age, right? Automatically. So we imagine our tuple like this now. So you tell me if really this formula is satisfied. So what should happen? This should be true, correct? For the t dot name should become s dot name. Already s dot name is what? Raju. So t also should acquire s dot name value. Then t dot age should acquire this 75. So what happens if it happens? So entire formula will be true. If entire formula is true, then we are printing t. Then what t contains at that time? Raju comma 75. Of course, this is some part of the sailor whose rating greater than 7. That's easy to understand, correct? So this is the way from now onwards we write the query. So this part is easy. First of all, write the core logic. There should be some sailor whose rating greater than 7. Then take the tuples, name and age into a random tuple t. That's it, and print the tuple. So what are you printing? You are printing all the sailors definitely whose rating greater than 7, right? All the names and ages, correct? Sir, how can you say that this tuple, this table, this query is printing all such tuples? I will tell you. Whenever this formula is satisfied, you are collecting t, correct? Now, if there are so many tuples, if there is another sailor tuple, let's say, so let's say Rani, her age is 60, her rating is 10. My question is, this tuple satisfy this formula? Yes. This is some tuple who is satisfying this formula, correct? Then if your tuple t dot name equal to s dot name, there is again another tuple t whose name equal to Rani. Okay. Now whose age is, let's say, 60. Then automatically these two conditions also will become true. Then this tuple also will satisfy this entire formula. So that tuple also will be printed. That's why though we are writing just t, it's a collection of all such tuples which satisfy this formula. Understand? So finally we have written a query model. So we are going to use almost every time only this model. If you understand this one, then you can understand anything in tuple initial calculus, not a problem. Okay. So tuple initial calculus is like learning cycle. Example, how you learn cycle. You took a cycle from your brother, right? When your brother was not there and you tried doing it, and before that already you observed him how he is riding it, right? Then whenever your brother is absent, you tried riding, and while doing that so many times you've fallen off, right? Same way here also, how to write proposition, this tuple relational calculus queries. Simple. I am like your brother. First of all, observe 2 or 3 queries how I am writing, then take the new query, new problem, and start writing. Sometimes you do mistakes, then after that you learn. That's it. Okay. We'll see one more query. Find sailor names who have reserved boat ID 007. So we have to find out the people who reserved 007. For that, see this query. So there is a problem with this query. Actually, this is not again the correct model. So what's the problem with this one is, in a query, already I told you, first of all, see this problem. There is a problem here. You can't write s dot name. The always syntax is you should write a tuple name at left side, correct? So the to be printed thing should be tuple, but here you are printing column, right? That is one mistake. Second thing, if you see here in entire tuple relational calculus, so this is the structure, right? T f of t. Your formula, in your formula, t should be the only free variable. But here there are how many free variables? S is a free variable, R is a free variable, right? Because there is what is bounded variable? Any variable which is associated with there exist otherwise for all is called bounded variable. So neither of them is bounded, all are free, right? So that's why you can't have another free variable in the query. So that's why this is generally the wrong way. Don't write it. So don't worry about the logic and everything. So I'm not worrying about the logic, but you can't have this kind of S belongs to sailors, R belongs to reserves 2 times. That is one thing. So how to answer this kind of questions? That's why definitely we need there exists X and for all. So let me use them appropriately. First of all, before going to the query model or anything, first I go for my imagination. So I do this imagination. One is, I just want to find out the sailor names, right, who have reserved boat ID 007. So how do you know that someone reserved boat ID 007 without seeing reserves tuple? No, impossible, right? So that's why in my imagination I should see one reservation tuple, one sailor tuple. If I do one sailor tuple, one reserves tuple, then only I can answer who reserved 007. Sir, why sailor tuple? To know the name of the person who reserved it, correct? So that's why. And especially that R tuple also should have BID value 007. And this, what about this SID? It could be anything, but it should match with S.SID, right? So let's write here S.SID. This should be matched. Then if this happens, then definitely this will be 1, this will be 1, otherwise 2 to anything. Now let's say this is Raju. Now I can say that Raju is the person who reserved 007, right? For that, this should be the idea. Now let me put it in a query form, tuple relational calculus. So what I want to say is there exists at least one. Finally, I am going to write a formula. So that formula, how that formula should look like, I will tell you. There exists at least one S belongs to sailors. And one more thing, you remember one thing. These two are same. Whenever I write there exists X belongs to sailors, I am writing it, right? So this is nothing but writing like this. There exists S such that S belongs to sailors. We'll try to understand this one first, so that you can understand it. Both are same. There is some tuple S such a way that S belongs to sailor. There is at least one tuple S which has this property. What is that property? Belonging to sailors. That means there is some sailor. That means there is a tuple belongs to sailors. So that is nothing but this one. From now onwards I write like this, short form. There exists S such that S belongs to sailors is nothing but there exists S belongs to sailors. Second one, I write like this, for all R belongs to reserves. This means for every R, if R belongs to reserves, okay, then instead of this one, we write it for all R belongs to reserves. That means for every R, if R belongs to reserves is the thing. So we write for all R belongs to reserves. Example, how to use them in a clear format, I will tell you. Example, I want to say that there exists one S belongs to sailors. If I write like this, such a way that S dot rating equal to 10. That means actual notation is like this. There is one S such a way that S belongs to sailors. It's like this. And S dot rating equal to 10. So now this is very easy to understand, right? There is some tuple which belongs to sailors and whose rating is 10, right? Second thing, if I write for all R belongs to this one, for all R belongs to reserves, let's say R dot BID equal to 007. So what does it mean? I will tell you. Whenever I write from now onwards like this, that means for every R, if R belongs to reserves, I am not saying that every tuple R belongs to reserves. It's a conditional. For every tuple R, if R belongs to reserves, then R dot BID equal to 007. So here I am saying that every tuple, if it belongs to reserves, its BID is 007. Right? There is a difference between saying every reserves tuple is 007. I mean every tuple is 007. I am not saying that. I am saying that if any tuple belongs to reserves, that's BID, that's reservation ID is 007. That's it. Okay. So let me use from now onwards these two. But I write like this, rather than there exists S belongs to sailors and S dot rating equal to 10, I write simply there exists S belongs to sailors, S dot rating equal to 10. Then you can understand that there is a sailor tuple whose rating is 10. Okay. Now we'll see how to write the query finally. There is some S belongs to sailors. Now you can understand what does it mean, right? That means there is some sailor tuple, comma, there is some reservation tuple. I am seeing one reservation tuple. There is some reservation tuple such that what should happen, that R dot BID equal to 007, and one more thing should happen, that is equality between S dot BID and R dot BID. if this s dot sid equal to r dot sid, then that is enough. Immediately I will introduce a temp, because we know that one temporary variable is required, then that t dot name equal to s dot name. It's like, imagine it like you are copying this s dot name, which is our answer, to this t dot name, and we are printing t. So that would be good. Now we'll see what is the meaning of it again. Let's erase this one. You are printing t whenever this formula is satisfied by t. When this formula will be satisfied, there are a lot of sub formulas. There should be some Saylor tuple, right? Okay. There should be some reservation tuple. Okay. And let's say S and R. R dot BAD should be 007. Fine. Yeah, it might happen. S dot SID equal to R dot SID. This is SID. S dot SID equal to R dot SID. Let's say if it happened, then simply one more thing should happen. There should be a temporary tuple T, which is called orphan tuple. No name for it. We don't know this tuple belongs to which table, but there is a temporary tuple called T. Its name equal to S dot name. Let's say if this is also true, then overall formula will become true. For that, what should happen? This T dot name should have this S dot name property. What is this S dot name's value? Raju, let's say. Then T dot name also should be Raju. In that circumstances, we are printing T. Then what are you printing? You are printing simply S dot name. That is nothing but Saylor name who have reserved 007. This is the tuple relational calculus query. Understand?